Why do you have a testimonial on Dr. Joe Dispenza's page if meditation didn't work for you? That's one of the questions you asked in the comments on my latest video. Another one was, why do you put down meditation in your videos? And my personal favorite, this is AI. She sounds like a computer. Obviously, that wasn't written as a compliment, but that's exactly how I take it. You're implying that I'm as polished and as well-spoken as AI. Wonderful. Thank you very much for the insult. So, let me answer the questions and also point out the one thing that's standing between you and the healing you so desperately desire, as a little bonus for you. But we'll get to that later, so stick around, especially if you're the kind of person who leaves angry comments on a stranger's YouTube video without knowing anything about her, because if that's you, then you definitely need mind training more than you're willing to admit. And if you want a free mind training guide to help you deal with overwhelming emotions, such as anger, and heal your body, then click the link below this video to get your own copy. Let's start with the first question, which, to be honest, was a great one. Why do I have a testimonial on Dr. Joe Dispenza's channel if meditation didn't work for me? The short answer is because they invited me up onto that stage. But we have to go back in time for a longer answer to that question. I was sick for nearly 39 years, and I'm 41 now. And even if I was told again and again that nothing could be done, I never fully accepted that. In 2018, I hit rock bottom and I was suicidal. And that breakdown literally became my wake-up call. I didn't want just to survive, I wanted to heal. So I slowed down. I put my company and my life on hold. I took long walks and long baths, which were the only things that made me and my skin slightly better. Meanwhile, I read 100 books, and then I found meditation after a year of studying my mind on my own. And at that moment, I believed that meditation could heal me because I had watched dozens of testimonials of people who said that it was possible and who had had the experience. So I meditated every day for 18 months, and I got worse. You might already know that part of the story. Yes, I started sleeping through the night 18 months in, which was huge. But I was still anxious, still stuck, still sick, and I was back in the same mental prison every time I opened my eyes after meditating. So I started doing something differently, not because I had a teacher, I didn't. Not because I believed I could heal, I barely did, but because there wasn't any other alternative, at least not as far as I was aware at the time. Which is why I started training my mind. I watched my thoughts like a hawk, and I studied my mind for hours every single day. And then my skin started to heal in October 2021, nearly 2 years after I got into meditation. In January 2022, I went to a Dr. Joe Dispenza event and shared what I thought was my healing story. That's so funny when I think about it. Spoiler alert, I wasn't done yet. And now I want to share 3 major points about my experience on that stage that might surprise you quite a bit. The third point also reveals the most common question I get from beginners who have watched all the testimonials and who haven't seen any change in their own lives. I was far from finished, but still finish. My healing journey was far from over in January 2022. It would take 2 more years for me to figure things out. And the irony is that I had my worst flare-up ever after my 3rd Dr. Joe event in August 2022. It took me months to recover from it, and nearly a year before I was comfortable enough to film my face here on YouTube, which is the last thing someone with skin issues would want to do, if I'm completely honest with you. Especially since I didn't know anything about how to make videos. there was also another aspect to it. The story I told on that stage had about 30 sequels to it, all of which I've shared with full transparency inside my private membership community. And that's why I can help my students, because I know what it's like to struggle, to go back and forth, to almost give up because you think you're failing when you're not. Healing isn't linear, and it doesn't happen all at once. Not for me and not for my clients. I obviously don't know what happened to the other people who gave testimonials. I hope that they're doing really well, but I struggled like crazy after that moment. And those stories are typically the ones that my students need to hear the most. What you don't see in my testimonial. Everything I said on that stage was true. I had no secret agenda. I was just someone who was trying to heal. But here's what you don't see in that video. Halfway through my testimonial, a member of the staff came up to me and said, "Hurry up, get to the part about meditation." I totally get it. Testimonials are meant to be quick and punchy, but my story wasn't. It was messy, ongoing, and at that time, meditation was one of all the things I did to heal. Let me put it like this. If I meditate for 1 hour a day, then that's 6% of my waking hours. 6%. So, the right question is not, how did you meditate? A better question would be, what did you do during the rest of your day, 94% of the time while you were healing? Isn't anyone interested in that answer? Well, that's what my brand new foundational mind training course is all about. And in it, I share what helped me to keep going while I was healing with my eyes open, even when everything seemed to fail me. Join the waitlist through the link below this video to learn how to use the power of your mind. And if you're serious about healing, then that 94% of your day really matters. If you ask better questions, then you get better answers. That's what I teach my students. When that testimonial came out, I even left a long written comment on the video, which is still there, explaining what was missing, because that mattered to me. That's why I started this channel, so that I could tell my story in my way, on my terms. And here's what I actually said on that stage, quoting myself. I mean, I did the meditations, but they weren't that great. What I did do was watch my thoughts for many hours a day. Let me translate that for you. I'm literally talking about mind training. I didn't use that term back then, but that's what it was about. And that's what I've been teaching all along. Go watch the other 100+ videos here on my channel. I never claimed to be a meditation teacher. And if you want to learn meditation, go listen to Dr. Joe. He's the best in the world at that. Somehow, I became the accidental spokesperson for meditation, even though I was very clear on the subject. People hear what they want to hear, and I never said what they thought I said. What am I missing? So there was that moment up on that stage in 2022 when I stood next to the greatest meditation teacher and told the truth. I said my meditations weren't that great. Look at my face in that video. Can you see that I'm embarrassed? I told the truth. And it was embarrassing to say it out loud. I never saw anything when I meditated. I still don't. And I didn't have any wildly mystical experiences during meditation. So of course, I felt like a loser. Still, I told the truth because that's what I was there for, and I described exactly what my experience was like. But my story was never about meditation. It was always about mind training. That's what I started doing early in 2019, and it took a while for me to learn it, and it's going to take a while for anyone who wants to learn it, because you're learning how to unlearn all the thought patterns and the beliefs that have already been keeping you stuck your entire life. And that's what everyone comments on and wants to know more about. People are really frustrated, even angry about the fact that there are people up on a stage who seem to have healed in a split second and that it seems to have been so easy for them. That's also the reason why I share every part of my own story, no matter how bad it makes me look. Both strangers and my own clients have repeatedly commented on the way I look, and they've questioned my methods and my credibility, as if I needed to look perfect to play my part. And I disagree. I've learned the hard way. I've done this for a long time, and I know what this work is about. The most useful part is that I found a way to teach what I experienced. The question is, would you rather learn how to heal from someone who struggled for decades and who had multiple so-called setbacks before she figured it out? Or would you prefer to listen to someone who had a mystical experience or an unexpected healing and who has no idea what happened or how to explain it to someone else? Which brings me one step closer to revealing what's standing between you and that healing that you're so desperate to experience. However, there's something I need to do first. I would like to give you a quick business lesson to make a point. You didn't see that one coming, did you? It'll take about 1 minute. Let's talk about YouTube, which is owned by Google. It's not a charity. In fact, it's a very lucrative business. Anyone can post content here on YouTube, so can you. And YouTube makes money from it through ads. That's the structure. Now, I didn't earn any ad revenue because my channel was too small, so YouTube has never paid me anything. But I did get paid when somebody saw my free videos and chose to work with me because I offered a solution to their problem. That's how I make a living. I help people and I get paid for it. That's not evil or disingenuous. That's business. Obviously, I'm going to talk about the benefits of what I sell because it's what I believe in and it's what I teach. I've never hidden that. I don't work for free, and neither do you. In other words, this is my full-time job, and I love what I do. So if it bothers you that I make money through my work, which is mind training, then just scroll on. No hard feelings. See you later, alligator. Okay, that was the lesson in how you too can make money online. Spend 2 years learning how to make videos in public while you look like a fool. You won't get paid, but people will generously criticize you and tell you everything they perceive as awful about you. So you just sit there and keep producing the best, most helpful content you're capable of making, while complete strangers tell you that you're greedy, lame, and fake because you want to charge money for a service that has the potential to change a person's life in every aspect. I clearly have the best job in the world. You must be so jealous. Now, that's out of the way, so let's get back to the discussion around meditation and your questions. Did I put down meditation? No! I didn't say that it didn't work for me. I said that it wasn't enough. I said that it didn't heal me, and I said I needed more in order to heal. I also said that I've meditated every day for the last 5.5 years, and I'll keep doing that forever, my way, on my terms. That's what I teach. So why do I have a testimonial on Dr. Joe's page? Because that's where I started. That was 2.5 years ago. That's a long time ago. And I've changed a lot since then. I teach change, which means that I live it. I walk the talk and I talk the walk as well as I possibly can. The point is, if nothing changes, then nothing changes. Wouldn't you want me to have something radically different to say? Something that gives you another perspective on healing and change? Or do you want me to make another 20 videos where I talk about what some other teacher already teaches? That doesn't make any sense. Change is always good from a right-minded perspective. I didn't know what I wanted to say when I started filming myself on my couch in 2023, but I knew I had to say something, and I was willing to learn in public because I had so much more to say and so much more to teach others who were in a similar, impossible situation that I had spent so many decades in. Since then, I've created created a private mind training community, and I've taught 1 to 2 live classes per week for a year and a half, nearly 200 hours of training. I edited every single recording myself, and 70 students around the world have tested the formula for practically every problem and every illness out there. The question is, what happened next? They healed, they changed, and many of my students became someone new. And now I'm ready to share that more publicly because I know exactly what I want to say. And I also have a clear offer, which is my foundational mind training course, and you're welcome to sign up for the waitlist through the link below this video. Every teacher learns from another teacher. I've read a lot, and I've learned from Krishnamurti, Byron Katie, Dr. Joe, Louise Hay, Dr. David Hawkins, Abraham, A Course in Miracles, and many more. Then I add my own flavor, my story, and my experience, unique to me. Which brings us to the final and most important part of this video. Take out a piece of paper and write down what I'm about to say. The only thing, yes, the only thing standing in your way is your belief. It takes quite a while to fully grasp what that means, and it has nothing to do with religion. Here's what I've seen after coaching my students over the past 18 months. I can point out blind spots and ask people to become aware of something very specific while I'm teaching a group class. One person hears it and gets triggered. 20 others hear it and smile, delighted by what they just heard. In other words, that one person is triggered because of their own past experience and any previous emotional wounds. There's a limiting belief standing in their way. So if you get pissed off because I say that meditation wasn't enough for me, then you probably have some limiting belief about meditation, which your entire existence rests upon. But if you really believed in it, and if it really worked for you, then you wouldn't care what I say at all. And if my story and my personal experience makes you furious, then that's your work, not mine. I'm not saying this to point fingers. I'm saying it because too many people let their unexamined beliefs run the entire show. And those beliefs are keeping you sick, stuck, and scared, which you're entirely unaware of, and instead you blame me for putting down meditation. If you want to change and heal, then start with your mind. Start with what you believe in, and start looking at what you're defending and ask yourself, why? Meditation is not a person. He or she won't be offended by my words, but you might, and it's not my problem. And if you're still convinced that I'm AI, just know this. I spill all the tea inside my private membership and some of it in my upcoming online course. Those stories are often pretty embarrassing, ridiculous, and often wildly inappropriate. No bot could ever deliver that like I do. And if you want to keep watching my stuff, even if I swear a little, I know, how dare she, then go watch this video next to learn how to pull yourself out of a funk and finally learn how to navigate overwhelming emotions. Or maybe I was the only one who struggled with that. Sending you so much love, as always. Spicy.